Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Savannah and we're in River Rock Zoo again today building an enclosure for our reindeer. We're starting off by building the shelter. This was the main kind of inspiration because to be honest I really didn't know what to do for them. I mentioned before when I did the doll sheep habitat, when I think of hoofstock, you know, just a square with some grass and some trees and a shelter and they're good to go. So trying to make it different and interesting of a build, and so I thought I would start off with their shelter. So this was actually a picture of a horse barn or a round pen for out of a stable. So I kind of took that and went with it to adapt it to the reindeer. So I am starting with this, and for those of you that have been following that know, I recently got a new computer because the piece count finally got too much for my laptop that I was building on. This is the structure that did it. As I do the roof, I use circular symmetry and the rotation tools to make it all nice and pretty, but when I originally, and you'll see when we get there, when I originally did the roof, I used really small pieces, which I thought looked cool, but so many pieces and my laptop couldn't keep up. So I did end up adjusting it so that when I do, or this, I'm sorry, is on the Steam Workshop so that it doesn't crash and give everybody else's computers a hard time. So hopefully it's not too bad. But the roof is consistent of a lot of pieces because it is going to be made up of just the wooden panels that are all rotated around in a circle. But I started off with this because I was really having a hard time with inspiration on the enclosure itself. River Rock Zoo had this weird little corner down by the entrance as you come in and go to the right that's right across from our saltwater crocodile habitat. And I knew I wanted to put an animal there, but I just I get kind of trapped into a box when I have a certain space that's meant for an animal that I know that I'm going to build an enclosure versus just having, an open slate to kind of do whatever I want. So I was a little stuck on this one, so I spent a great deal of time trying to make this shelter pretty cool looking. Again, sticking with our modern theme, so you can see here this is where I use the rotation and just making sure everything lines up correctly, and these are the panels that I'm talking about. But when I go to the upper portion of the roof, I switch for whatever reason to the smaller ones, and that's what really caused the piece count to skyrocket very quickly. But you will also see in this video, you can tell that part of it is recorded on my laptop and part of it's recorded on my new computer because the graphics are different. So you'll see that halfway through the video, it'll switch and it'll look a little bit different. And I'm super excited about my new computer. I really love it. I've been building on it for a while. I did take a break last week and took a week off of making and putting out a video so that I could get everything set up and organized the way that I wanted it to be. And I still am kind of far to go from having the perfect setup or exactly what I want, but I did make a lot of improvements that just make my life a little bit easier to put these videos together for you guys. So overall, pretty happy with how this shelter came out. I do want your guys' opinion on one thing though. So River Rock Zoo has been going for quite a while. We've gotten a good layout going, quite a few animals in there, and to be honest, we've kind of hit all the North American animals and they're in the zoo currently. So from here, I'm not really sure what other animals to put in. I know probably like a lot of you guys, or a lot of you guys that are players are really desperately waiting for a Planet Zoo DLC. I'm right there with you. I haven't quite lost inspiration as far as building goes, but I'm really looking for new animals, new stuff to play with. So I'm really hoping that comes soon. But if you guys have anything that you would like to see added to River Rock Zoo, please let me know. I do kind of want to wrap it up and get it on the Steam Workshop for you guys. So I will be uploading as it currently is to the workshop so that you guys can go in and check it out. I'm going to put all the animals in the trade center and it'll be a zoo file, so when you download it, I don't have a lot of the animals in there because I really haven't, this is a sandbox zoo, so I haven't been playing it as an actual campaign or managing anything. I've simply just been building in it. So the animals are purely just so so that when I make these videos, you guys can see how they move around and how they interact with the habitat. But please, if you would like, download it, check it out. I've had a couple people ask me already if they can sit down and play with it, and I definitely want you guys to be able to do that. So if you do, or if you have any ideas about what other animals you think would go, please let me know, because at this point I don't really know what else we should or could add. I do want to go through and add maybe a few more food stalls or bathrooms, because I did kind of lack on those. We did one restaurant eating area food court build that was the lemur habitat, had that next to it. So there is that. There's a food court in the entrance, but other than that, throughout the zoo, I kind of did neglect the guests, to be honest. So if you have any ideas on what we could add as far as that goes, let me know as well. Here, just using these window pieces, and one thing as I'm mentioning this that comes to mind is on my laptop, I wasn't really able to watch my video in real time because while I use Premiere Pro for editing, and my laptop's graphic card did not really agree with the program, and so it would kind of skip or lag every now and again, and I would just kind of have to do the voiceover and not say like, right now this is happening, because I couldn't guarantee the audio would line up perfectly with the video picture. And now I can, because my new computer can more than handle it. And these are the little pieces right here that I'm talking about. I use the tiny ones. I don't know why. I switch them to the bigger ones later just to give my computer a break. But you can even see after this, after when I start rotating these ones, my computer starts to kind of chug a little bit. My laptop rather, because this is still all on my laptop before going to my new computer. But anyway, so those of you that saw the start of our new project, Sakura Zoo, thank you so incredibly much for all the feedback, all the comments, all the likes. It just wonderful. I was, if I'm being honest, super nervous to put that one out there because everybody had loved River Rock Zoo. It's really been my first zoo that I started seriously making videos for. So I was incredibly nervous to kind of leave it. I didn't want to make anybody angry, or rather not leave it, but to start something new. I didn't know how it would be received. I didn't know if you guys would like it or not. I had a ton of fun building it, but at the end of the day, you know, I have fun building these, but I make them into videos so that people can enjoy them. I don't sit down and watch the videos because, you know, I did the build. So I really was really pleased that you guys did enjoy that. So thank you so much. And then the other thing I have to thank everyone for, and if you're watching and you're subscribed, thank you so much. I can't even believe I started making videos in December of last year, and then really seriously got into it in March when, you know, everything in the world that's going on, I kind of had a little bit more free time, and they've just been received really well. And at this point of recording, we're at like 730 subscribers, and we've gained like 150 or so in the last week and a half, and that's just phenomenal. I don't know what to say. I know I've mentioned it before in a previous video of saying thank you, and I really do mean it. Thank you. I'm having a ton of fun doing these builds, and hopefully I can keep going and doing them for you guys. We've moved on now in the video to the shade structure / viewing platform for the reindeer. I had an idea that I wanted this to be raised over the river that was currently there. When I first started this zoo, the first thing I put down was that river, and that's kind of how the zoo got its name of River Rock, because there's a zoo running directly across the center of, you walk in and the river's right there. So raising this above the river, and then I do end up putting a, I don't even know what you would call it, like a drainage area, some concrete thing with a bunch of poles in it where the water runs into, so it doesn't look like the river just kind of ends. So making it seem like it's a man-made, or at least that we've redirected the river or are, you know, recycling the water back into somewhere else in the zoo, something like that. But here I'm just kind of doing the top portions of the shade structure, and again, I don't know why, I'm crazy on the piece count. I just started duplicating these little little, what are they, planks over and over and over again, but I do go back and kind of take out every other one on the roof, so they're a little bit further spaced apart, just because this also did contribute to the increase, obviously, the increase of piece count, because there was a lot of little pieces in there. You'll see here, I start to play with some plants and things like that. I end up really redoing that at the end because I was never really happy. I don't remember, you'll see here in a second if I did cut it out or not, but I started to put some vines and stuff, and I really wasn't happy with the color. They were just really, really bright green and didn't really go with the, reindeer kind of in more of a taiga environment, and it didn't really go. But putting some decorative pieces as far as these, they're actually, I think, labeled as African decorative pieces. No, I did cut it out. So going to the drainage area is what I'm talking about here. So just using the plaster pieces, my favorite pieces, I'll use them for everything. My new favorite thing, I actually just started another new project, which will be coming soon, so stay tuned, and making realistic like water ponds or reservoirs and stuff in the enclosures that the animals would actually use, and that keepers would be able to drain and clean and things like that. I really like, and again, everybody's gonna play the game a different way, right? You might just like doing it the fastest, the best possible, breed the best animals the most efficient way. I really like the building of the game. I do play franchise mode and stuff like that every once in a while, but I really like the building aspect, and I really like challenging myself to build the most realistic builds possible. Now, I did somewhat do with this one, but really that's the point of Sakura Zoo, is I really wanted to push myself to think about what would actually be in a zoo, where the animals would need to go. Like, for example, if you're building a tiger enclosure, you can't just put a habitat door on the edge and have the keepers walk right in, even though they do in the game. They're gonna have to have a separate area where you can put the animals so that the keeper can go in. Water is always gonna be, even it might look like dirt, but it might oftentimes be colored concrete or rocks or something that they can clean, things like that. So really trying to think about that, and then try to funnel guests in certain directions so that they can't just view the enclosures from 360 degrees. This one didn't work too well because you'll see on the other side is the bridge that goes up to our timber wolf habitat. The guests stop and view the reindeer there, and then they don't really see a reason to come all the way over here. But stuff like that, whereas if you were a zoo, you'd want to draw people in. You'd want them to walk around as far as possible, because the longer people are in the park, they get hungry, they get thirsty, they start to buy things, they walk past, gift shops, things like that. So just trying to play kind of as realistically as possible. And my second question of the day, other than what other animal do you think we should start in River Rock Zoo, is I have been going back and forth on starting a franchise series. Now, I know everybody and their mom is doing a franchise series as well as some builds, but if it's something that you want to see, I won't make any promises. I am kind of just going back and forth and thinking about it, but it could potentially help persuade me if you guys really, really want to see like a franchise, what are they called? Not a playthrough, where you make videos and you get to see me build in real time and talk to you while I'm doing things, whatever those are called. I want to say live stream, but that's not what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm just going to move on because the word is not coming to me. Let's play. There you go. A franchise, let's play, whatever you want to call it. If that's what you want to see, that was my really, really long-winded way of asking what your interest is in that. But moving on, let's go back away from our tangent. I do apologize. I actually just got home from work like 30 minutes ago. It was a super long day. Last week was incredibly crazy. I'm super, super fortunate right now. Extremely lucky to still obviously have my job, and with everything going on in the world, I know that that's not the case for most. But it was a really long week last week, so that's another reason why I took a week off. Anyway, but that's also why my brain's a little scattered right now. We're going from tangent to tangent, not really sticking on one topic. So back to the enclosure. I had to revisit this staff area. This staff area wasn't a part of any video. I had put this in right after I did the entrance to make sure that I had all the facilities that the animals needed, so that while I was building it wouldn't scream at me that they were all being, starving, not taken care of, things like that. But I had to rework it because I wasn't quite happy where that shelter ended up fitting. And in fact, the shelter is going to go on the other side of the enclosure when it's all said and done. I did end up moving it, but this also gave the enclosure just a little bit more space, and then also gave the habitat enclosure entrance. The habitat entrance. I don't know why I called it two different things. The entrance to the habitat. Goodness gracious, guys. I do apologize. Hopefully this is easy to follow and, scatterbrainedness isn't that obnoxious. Anyway, made it easier for the keepers to get in, moving things around here. So it's pretty much all exactly the same, just kind of moved around. And then I'll add the habitat entrance right there. And then the last thing that I add to this one's a pretty simple build in terms of really the only time-consuming part of this video for me to build was the shelter. Oh, and you can see there, I don't know if you can tell, but this is now my new computer. Hopefully it looks better. I would hate to point it out to you guys and it look worse. I still am playing with some of the video settings and the graphics settings, so hopefully it looks okay. I think it looks a lot not brighter, but just kind of more saturated. There was kind of like a haziness that my laptop put on everything. But you can see I moved the shelter over, and then just using some rocks to make this back wall to kind of limit this off. This would be where guests were not allowed to see the animals. Excuse me. And I do like using the null barrier as much as humanly possible, basically, and always making my own fencing. One, because I think it makes the enclosures look a little bit more realistic and more unique and more fit to whatever the animal is that's in there, or the environment that you're building in. But two, then you don't have to worry about the mechanics running around having to fix everything when they're breaking and stuff like that. So there is a little bit of real barrier used in this one. You'll see later, because I do a little bit of a double barrier where the guests have a railing, but then the enclosure also has its barrier to keep the animals a distance from the people. But this rock wall makes up the majority of the barrier on this side. But what I was saying, and I got again knocked onto a tangent because I noticed that the footage changed, is this is a bit of a simple habitat. The only time-consuming part of the build, like I said, was that shelter, and everything else was fairly quick. So I do hope that you guys like it. There is no big grand building or focal point or something like that, but it is kind of a natural looking habitat. And I will point out right here, I'm using the wrong pieces for the shade structure. I had used those teal colorable ones and then forgot and switched to these. I do fix it. That kind of stuff really bothers me when I'm watching videos and creators don't notice. It's a super subtle color change, but it's there. So don't worry, I do catch it and I do change it. But yeah, and this is where I'm adding that second barrier where it would just keep the reindeer a little bit further away from the guests. And I do change those ones as well to the correct colors. But with that, I really don't have anything else to explain on this enclosure or tell you guys. Again, I mean, I could thank you all day long, and I don't think it would be enough. If you've made it to this far in the video, thank you. Please leave a like, subscribe if you want to. I do try to do videos every week on Fridays. I'm working on a couple things that might just be bonus videos because they're not really series, they're just fun things that I've built. I'm a part of a couple different Discord communities, and there's a couple like contests going on, and I really enjoy participating in those, and the creators that put those on are fantastic. So I do record everything to make them into videos, so there might just be some one-off things like, released on random days during the week as a little surprise. So with that, I will leave you with the rest of the speed build. I did try to talk longer this time. I don't know if I was successful just because I rambled a ton or because I'm actually getting better at this. Who knows? But hopefully either way, whatever the cause was, you guys enjoy this, and thank you again for all the support. And I really hope to see you in the next one. And with that, I will say bye-bye.
This one is